I said it would take 10 years to change the surface of the earth. If from the day they say go, I've never said it would take 10 years. Well, there's no discussion about that. If he's familiar with the system, he understands he has to educate people. If you don't educate people, if you work out a system for making money in this system so that the people who identify with this would be better off, that's working in the wrong direction. If I tell people how to make money in the system, some will go off and make money in the system. They're not always going to stick with the Venus Project.
How do you provide renewable energy, food, drinking water?
That's process level.
Low cost.
That'll enhance people in this system. He's going off in his own direction. He's not following the Venus Project. If he doesn't understand that, he's got to come out here. Otherwise, he can't understand it. There's a lot of things I can show him on paper that I'd rather not show the general public because it's commercially available. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's no way to make the transition comfortable for the members. They will take advantage of that. Some of them will. They're not all safe bets. You also want to know how he can be sustained in this system. Well, if you show them how to be sustainable in this system, others will take it and commercialize on it. Not everybody may be as ethical as his inquiries. If you're interested in the Venus Project, you have to study the Venus Project and its approach to problems. If I wanted to know things, I would ask him about the transition. There can be no transition unless you're familiar with the Venus Project's procedures. Then you're to teach those procedures and explain the scientific method to people. If you can get to enough people, they will fall in line with the procedural system. Anything else, like how to survive within the system, that I don't deal with at all. That's really a commercial question. You'll have people wanting to get into the survival group if things are bad, but that doesn't bring about a resource-based economy.
Do you want a group within the Venus Project presenting different methods to people of how to survive during the transition?
Who do you select to give that to?
Anybody in the group who does research, who finding low-cost methods of doing things today. So I'm talking about just what's existing today that people can use. Do you want that as part of the Venus Project?
No.
Okay.
Well, the Venus Project is something else. It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
You have to buy the cheapest food that goes the greatest distance, which is like oatmeal. Cracked wheat is one of the most nutritious substances and is not expensive. So you have to store that, hermetically seal it, because you can't use refrigeration. But people will steal it from you. What are you doing, depriving other people of that? No, it just doesn't work like that. It makes one arrogant system over another. And the people that will survive, I can assure you, are the established people, not you. They can buy and control media. They can control substance, food substance. They can control fish, proteins of all kinds. You're not in that position to survive. The Venus Project has no control over survival during the transition. Remember, the Venus Project is not in charge. So you will have government, sort of a fascist, American brand of fascism, in which they will allocate resources for those in control, not the subversive people, or people they consider subversive. If you don't fall in line with their teachings, with their direction, you will be ostracized or mistreated. I can't deal with that. I have no control over that. Whatever happens will happen. And it depends on how many people you have oriented to this direction. And it all depends on what happens during the period of our travel. If we go to some country and that country wishes to establish the base for social operations, that's where it'll begin. And they'll bring other countries in. They have to follow that procedure. I'm not interested in handling any single country, okay, except for the start. If they want to start the beginning of the bringing together of all nations, I'm all for it. But if they want to know how to survive as a country, I'm not interested, because that's the same as the price system. That's the same as the UN. All the nations want to know is what's in it for them. Does it threaten their existence? We cannot cater to any one country. only when we begin and the leaders of a country understand the necessity of bringing together all the other countries. If you wish to put an end to war, unemployment, and many of the problems that exist, you have to follow the Venus Project's procedures. If you don't follow that, you're on your own. You do whatever you can to survive. I can't tell you about the transition. It depends on how many people are for it and how many people of technical competence we have in our organization. And there'll be a procedural system if the Venus Project is used. If it is not used, it'll be based on individual preference, which I don't concern myself with. The Venus Project is not concerned with the survival of a particular group, whether they're members of the Venus Project or not. We're concerned with the survival of society. That's our main focus. If you start out the other way, it'll go the other way. It will not be used sanely or intelligently. It's like designing faster aircraft. If you do, the military will gain it. Or if you design a new engine that's lighter, has more thrust than conventional engines, the military will have access to that first. And this is something I'm not concerned with. And if there are individuals that are sincere and really want to know how to survive under adverse conditions, that system will be available to other people and take away your ability to survive, if I put it out for the general public.
Do you think it's necessary to have a lot of people learning about the Venus Project who aren't technical and just talking to other people about it? Street activism?
Well, absolutely. The more people know about it, the more people that are behind it, the smoother the transition. I never said it'll be smooth. It's going to be rough. I've always said that. And there's nothing you can do about that. The transition will be whatever it will be. You don't know how bad things are. And then you have to learn what you would have to do privately, is learn what edible plants are. There are many root plants you can eat. You might be able to take some grass. This guy squeezes a glass and drinks the juice. If grass can support cows, can you cut it up in with the vegetables and mix it in? Are there other things we can eat that we don't concern ourselves with at present? I'm sure there are thousands of insects we can eat, which are high in protein, rich in nutrients, but you have to learn how to prepare insects.
Do you think it's important to have a group of people in the Venus Project
No, I'm
finding
not
out those
concerned.
types
No,
of...
I'm not concerned with it. If you can't get nations to agree, you're going to have total chaos. You're going to have thousands of different groups going their own way and keeping others from knowing what they know. It's the same system, just they'll be cooperative. What's that?
Just in different hands.
Yes. No, I'm talking about a survival method, not temporary things. And I'm not talking about survival of any particular group or nation. I mentioned that before. It has to be all the Earth's people or you have nothing to offer. Now, the other systems may enable you to last a little longer, but that's not the answer. And if you have a survival group, any military system can take that away from you. They're larger than your group and they're better trained in weapons systems and in taking over. If you think you can live to yourself, this has happened many, many times. Those people were done away with. They were in the way of national interests. You have to study the Venus Project, and the Venus Project procedure is first education into the methods of science so that they advocate the scientific method be used for social surveillance and social research, to do research concerning problems that face all people. This is our major concern, and it is not military solutions that we seek. We seek solutions such as, which I mentioned many times, cancer, heart disease. These are the concerns of all humanity, not military victories, such as heart disease, mental disorders, stress, all those things. This is our major concern, not how to win or take things away from others. And I don't want to deal with the solutions unless people want the Venus Project installed. If you give out solutions now, you make it impossible almost for the Venus Project. If you give out solutions, you make it difficult for the Venus Project. If a particular nation picks up those solutions and uses them for their own benefit, they deprive others of it, but they don't utilize it to take care of everyone. The Bible says, casting not pearl before swine. That's what that means. Everybody wants to know how to make a buck in this system and survive under adverse conditions. That's the same as the system, no different. We are not a group that takes care of our people. We take care of the world if they want to move in this direction. If they don't move in this direction, you will see no solutions. And if we went along with what everybody writes us, they recommend that maybe we ought to do this, or maybe we ought to do that. If I said, go ahead, do this, do that, then you have chaos again. It doesn't work. Either you follow the teachings of the Venus Project, or you point out the shortcomings. You say the reason why this won't work, or the reason why that won't work, or your beliefs as to why it may not work. And if you feel you can add to it, do that. But don't just put it out there. Send it to us. We'd like to see it first before we okay it. I think there's a book that's available today. It's called Survival, produced by the military. Edible Insects, How to Get Drinking Water. Do you know the book? It's a military book. What to survive on, what you can eat, how you can get water where there's little water. It's condensation on leaves, and you can drink it. And it tells of the traveler's farm with horns that are filled with water. But the military survival book, in the hands of everybody, produces another problem. If everybody had a copy of the military survival book, you have no advantages. So I'm not too interested in people that survive. I always say outdoor people have a better chance of surviving. Hunters with guns, and liberals usually don't like guns, so their ability to survive is diminished. The people that will survive are those that have guns, have good target practice, and even if they shoot people, they will probably consume them under terrible conditions. So that's no solution. There was some group in France that used to charge Jews a certain amount of money and they transfer them through a tunnel. But the Jews would give them a certain amount of money, and in the tunnel they would be crucified and butchered and sold in meat shops in Germany and all over where there was shortages. Are you familiar with that? But they never told people it was human beings. But they did provide a lot of meat, and they did use dogs and other animals and provide them with meat for a fee. But the people thought they were escaping in this tunnel. There they were butchered and stole. All their baggage was taken away from them. These people survived quite well. The more ruthless, the more survival value. Do you understand that? The ruthless tend to survive, not the humanists. They're least apt to survive. Decency and ethics under troubled conditions have a very low chance of survival. Lack of concern for anybody but yourself has more survival value in economic stress times. What's in it for me is the dominant value system today in the world. So be careful of what you give people and make sure you know who you're giving it to. And you have to warn them of the value of what you're giving them. The point is, I don't want to become involved in that process. I don't see it as a workable solution, is what I mean. Social planning is very different than survival, and our major concern is social planning for survival of all people. Those of you that want to learn how to survive under transitional conditions, I'm sure you can get many books from the library, but this does not promote general survival. You know, family comes first. You know that, you've heard that. Charity begins at home. All those tendencies divide people. I'm going to take care of my family. I don't care about you. You do what you can. But I got 3 kids I've got to look after. So everybody is concerned with their own survival. That's the kind of world you live in. Survival of the fittest means whatever their training is in survival, not necessarily the intellectually fittest. The intellectual fittest appeal to logic and reason, which doesn't work at all under adverse conditions.